Hey everyone, and welcome to Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, the author of The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss, Own Your Health, and the new 10th anniversary edition of Unprocessed. And this is where I show you recipes for healthy, permanent, and sustainable weight loss. And did you know you have an option now on Amazon to get the spiral? So I'm not going to show a recipe from the book today. Every now and then I'll post my meals on social media, Facebook and Instagram, and people want the recipe. The truth is, I don't really cook with recipes, even my own. I just want to show you the process. I made something that actually, it should be a recipe. It was really delicious. I'm calling it Provincial Patty Pan Stew. You see, my niece grows her own squash, and she brought over all this patty pan squash. A patty pan squash is a yellow summer squash, much like a crookneck or a zucchini, but it's yellow and it's shaped kind of like a flying saucer. And so I still had some left, and I also added some green to it. But I already cooked my onion and my onion and garlic in advance. It was last week where I cooked the mushroom. And I didn't want to do that again this week because you could watch the video from last week and learn how to do this. But in my opinion, everything starts with an onion, and my onion and the garlic are nicely browned now, so I can go on to the next step. I basically just took a bag of onion that I had in my refrigerator from Trader Joe's. It was a 10-ounce bag of chopped onion and as much garlic as you want. And now I'm going to add my squash. As I mentioned, I did add a little bit of green zucchini in there because I wanted to use what I had. Turn the heat down a little bit, and then I'm just going to cook this until it's al dente. I don't want it mush. Zucchini has a tendency to turn to mush. If you feel your pan is dry or you want it to steam a little faster, you can add a little bit of water like I just did, or vegetable broth. Vegetable broth often has salt in it, even oil, so I tend not to buy boxed vegetable broth, instead using the Bada Bing spice from local Spicery if I need broth. It's SOS-free. But I'm actually going to be using an amazing seasoning, a new one from local Spicery today, because when I don't measure really when I cook like this. This is most of my meals. I'm just going to sprinkle like I do, and like I tried to do the other night when I wanted to recreate this dish, the Provincial Patty Pan Stew. So if you use salt, of course use salt, but I prefer to use salt-free seasoning. And there's many wonderful salt-free seasoning blends out there. Dylan Holmes from All Your World has many blends. Benson's Table Tasty. But there's this new one from local Spicery. It really tastes like salt. It's called Sel-acious salt substitute. So it's not like fake or potassium chloride. I don't know how he did it, but you can watch the interview I did with him to see how he did it, but it really tastes salty. So if that's something you like or miss, maybe give that a try. So we just kind of keep stirring the pan around until our zucchini starts to soften. I'm going to serve this over rice, probably brown rice, but there is going to be a little bit of starch in here because I added a potato, a russet potato, that I cut up. Now, the night that I first made this, I cut the russet potato really small and I cooked it on the stovetop. But it took forever, so I said if I'm doing this again, I'm cooking the potato first, because then I just have to warm it through. So you just want to cook this zucchini for as long as you like to get it soft, or soft enough. And then I'm going to add a can of my favorite fire roasted salt-free tomatoes by Muir Glen. So it's kind of like a stovetop stew. If I had herbes de Provence, I would have probably have added those, but I didn't have any on hand. So what I added, trying to do is like recreating a crime scene. I took a little basil, and I didn't measure, I just kind of sprinkled like that. And I took Italian seasoning. Remember, there's already onion and garlic in there, and I sprinkled like that. So that's really how I cook. You know, of course you can taste it, you can always add, and then my Sel-acious. That is really going to give it a lot of flavor. The night that I first made this, I did use Benson's Table Tasty, so I'm just going to keep that cooking and simmering till the squash gets a little bit softer. I don't need the potato to get softer, because it's already cooked. I just need it to be warmed through. And like many dishes, especially soups, stews, and chili, this actually tasted better the next day after it was refrigerated, although it tasted very good the first day too. You know, it's a lot like ratatouille in a way, because it's got the onion and the zucchini and the tomato. So in a way, it's kind of stovetop ratatouille. Maybe I should call it that, but there's no eggplant in here or bell pepper. So I do like my vegetables with a little bit of bite. I like them al dente. I don't want them soft, so I'm going to add my potato now. And that's it. That's really how I cook. I don't cook with recipes. I cook with ingredients that I always have on hand, because I've always batch cooked and I just have my favorite ingredients always ready. You know, when I started this with the onion and garlic, you can actually do that in advance. I learned that from Chef Darshana Thacker of Forks Over Knives. She batch preps her onion and garlic, and then she freezes it. And then when she wants to make something like this, she doesn't have to go through that step, which I didn't show you because, like I said, you can check last week's video or any of my videos, like how to saute an onion or how to saute without oil. If you wanted to add another can, I probably put a little bit more squash in here than I did the first night I made it. So I could add another can of tomatoes or a little bit of tomato paste, but it will give up some of its liquid, the zucchini, so it'll be good. So I will add another can of tomatoes because there is so much volume in this. And then I will have more sauce for over the rice. You could add mushrooms here. It's really, you know, recipes are a guideline, so you can feel free to color outside the lines. When you bake, I obviously think you need to follow the recipes. Baking is science, but put in the ingredients that you have on hand. Don't feel like you have to go to the store for ones you don't have. And of course, don't use anything you don't like. So I am going to add another can of tomatoes after all, because I did put in quite a bit more squash than I did the first time I made it, because I just used what I had. And this will give it more sauce if you feel like you need to add more seasoning, because there's more sauce. So this is mostly vegetable, a little bit of potato, and as I mentioned, I'm going to serve it over brown rice, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. Feel free to add mushrooms to this if you like. I would saute them first. Eggplant could work, bell pepper, whatever you have on hand. So there you have it, my version of Provincial Patty Pan Stew. Thanks so much for watching another episode of Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, and I truly believe you can have both the health and the body that you so richly deserve. Take care.